And now allow me to make a few comments on the ever-evolving moral landscape of human civilization throughout our 10,000-year history. I was listening to Dan Carlin's excellent, eye-opening 5.5-hour episode of Hardcore History titled Human Resources. It covered the topic of slavery, the Atlantic slave trade, to be exact. One of the lessons I took from this episode is that the long arc of history is full of atrocities, as we modern-day humans understand them, with the wisdom of time and moral progress. But during each period of history, as Dan documents, it was difficult for the majority of people to see just where the line between good and evil is. We humans, after all, forever like to weave a story in which we are the good guys. Listening to Dan discuss, and later myself reading firsthand accounts of slaves, of torture, of rape, of separation of families, is incomprehensibly heartbreaking. By the way, on this topic, firsthand accounts of slavery can be read in Slave Narratives, a folk history of slavery in the United States from interviews with former slaves. I can recommend the book that I've been reading, which is Voices from Slavery, 100 Authentic Slave Narratives. It all seems deeply and obviously wrong by today's standards, but slavery was seen as normal through most of human history. Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote All Men Are Created Equal, which I think is one of the most powerful lines in all of human history. He himself was a slave owner, making him a fascinating case study of contradictions. In fact, there's evidence that Thomas Jefferson drew from Genghis Khan's ideas about the importance of religious freedom, pulling as he did foundational ideas of human freedom from the jaws of deep history. And Dan, in his episode, documents these contradictions and complexities quite well. The full range of human psychology involved, including how violations of basic human rights breed generational hatred. This, I think, is an important lesson to understand. The consequences of our moral failings can reverberate through decades, even centuries. And that is perhaps one of the values of studying history. It is laden with atrocities, but it also contains people who, while flawed, dare to rise in some way above the moral decrepitude of the day, to try to build a foundation of a slightly better future world. As MLK Jr. put it, the arc of moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.